This story is very strange and very nasty, but somewhat nostalgic. Do you think you can be a good girl and listen all the way to the end?
Is it a scary story?
It might be.
Sure, that's one way of looking at it, but it's totally wrong. Listen, they both need each other. It's called interdependency, and they both know it. Yeah, I know. He does terrible things to Tom. Nasty, even sadistic things. But that's fine, as long as that's what Tom wants. Think about it. His actions. He's always asking for it. It's his partner's job to fulfill that need, and Jerry knows that. Proof? Well, in the Tom and Jerry show, they live with each other. Hello? Hello?
Zach, there goes the civilized world.
These puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
Welcome to Greenwood. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me George.
There's definitely something in this town. Do you feel it, Zach? My coffee warned me about it.
Been working here alone since then. Must be hard by yourself.
Oh my, we're all out of pepper. I'm very sorry.
It must be difficult to run a hotel by yourself.
Well, yes, I suppose. I could just live on my pension. But I have to admit, running a hotel is kind of like a hobby of mine.
That's nice. Polly, it might help to hear you better if you could sit a little closer.
Oh my, Mr. Morgan, you're embarrassing me. So early in the day, too. I think I'm a little too old for you.
And I still love my departed husband. May God rest his soul. I appreciate the invitation, but I'm fine over here.
Polly, I can hardly hear you from all the way.
Did you see that, Zach? Clear as a crisp spring morning. F.K. in the coffee. I knew I could count on it. Never fails.
Now then, let's get going.
Cutting out the tongue suggests a very lonely individual. Either that or a truly hardcore sadist. He must get off on watching women suffer, especially when they can't answer back. And he watched as the blood pumped from her body, as she gradually grew cold. A case in Seattle in 1985 was much like...
Usha, please, limit your report to your findings as a doctor. Criminal profiling is my job. You're wrong, also. Anna died fully, deeply, painfully aware of what was happening to her.
But,
Tell me, what time did it stop raining on the night Anna was killed?
Just before I went to bed, right after the movie on TV ended, so around 1 a.m.
What movie was it?
An American Werewolf in London.
Directed by John Landis, 1981. So the rain stopped, accompanied by the ending song, Blue Moon. Usha, are you a passionate man?
well, not particularly, but I am man enough should the moment call for it.
George, how about you?
I'm very passionate, yes. Especially when it comes to women. But I don't see what that has to do with anything.
George, the perpetrator is just like you. He's passionate about women. How about your cooking, Emily?
Oh, her cooking is pretty good. But it isn't for two-legged animals.
Oh, did you hear that, Zach? Not for two-legged animals. I'll have to remember that one.
Agent York, what kind of cases have you dealt with in the past?
Not much different from those you've just mentioned. The case I was on until last month, well, the guy killed 7 girls in a 3-month period. He sawed their heads off from the neck and took them back to his house. He cleaned the skulls up and used them as utensils in his daily life, to eat from or as a urine cup. He hated women. That was his way of dealing with it. He'd fill skulls with ice, cola, and rum, then he'd down it in one gulp. For him, that was a holy ritual. The question of his mental state was the pivotal point in the court case.
Oh, man.
For me, he was insane. 100%. Drinking from the skulls, well, that is one thing, but those he had used to relieve himself, he would then just use them to drink from, too. Yeah, that was too much for me. It's just not sanitary.
Not sanitary. That's probably not the problem for most of us.
What else? Ah, yes. An ingenious law school student raped over 800 victims. That was a nasty one.
Thank you, Agent York. Now, let's talk about something else.
You don't want to hear anymore? That's a shame, isn't it, Zach? I was just about to get to the good part, too. Zach, this case looks like it's directly related to us. I do not know how yet, but I do know I need some coffee.